everyone. I'm pleased to have with me Lyndon with Group Procurement at Distell, and he has agreed to give us some of his valued time this morning to discuss his thoughts and experience and plans around sustainability. Lyndon, welcome.
Good morning, Debbie, and to all the listeners and virtual. Thanks, always good to be back on Smart Procurement, and thanks for the work that you guys do for the procurement fraternity as well. Interesting topic that we have today. Yeah.
Absolutely, and Lyndon and I've already had some extensive chats before the interview, but hopefully he can now share that more formally in our interview. Lyndon, around sustainability, again, as sustainable procurement and sustainable supply chain, what around that really speaks to you in your professional capacity and also perhaps in the organizations that you represent?
Debbie, I think, like we had a bit of an informal chat earlier, I think sustainability is now quite critical in most businesses. In the past, sustainability was seen as just a nice to have. I think in today's, the way we're living at the moment and the way organizations behave is critical in terms of a responsibility that they need to have. So sustainability is high on and should be high on all organizations' agenda, as well as the procurement agenda as well. And they all, and from a procurement supply chain perspective, they all interfeed into the group's sustainability strategy that needs to be there in place. I think from a procurement perspective, there are various initiatives that we need to have in place. This is not a sprint. It's a I call it a roadmap, and then a journey of how you obtain some small wins as you go through the journey, and that involves a number of stakeholders within your supply chain, internally and externally as well. I think from a Distell perspective, we have made some great strides in terms of our sustainability in procurement as well in supply chain and across other sectors. So sustainability, in our business is driven on really strategic pillars, whether it's people, our profit, purpose, and then also our contribution to this earth and this planet as well.
Fantastic, and I'm glad that you actually sort of spoke about people and profit, because I think there is a misconception that sustainability just talks to the earth and the climate. And yet we really realize how it talks to like the circular economy concept. So what are maybe some of the upcoming plans that Distell has that if you're able to share around sustainable procurement?
Yeah, I think, Debbie, I think the most important thing for us at what we're doing, we have a plan. I think that's very important. And if you look at working on that plan, it's not a big bang approach, if I could call it like that. It's a stage plan, like I've mentioned, and you focus and you break it out. And I'm specifically talking about, procurement and supply chain, where you talk about electricity, you talk about water, you talk about the gases as well, you talk about waste streams as well. Now, all these, sustainability areas are obviously quite crucial. And, with a lot of, it's not a big bang approach. You have to have a plan that you're working towards. And in each of these categories, Distell has already, embarked and invested a lot around electricity, water, greenhouse gases, and waste as well. And we have very dedicated programs in terms of how we're going to be improving that as well.
Fantastic. And I do know that you're also personally very close to your supplier programs and your supply enablement programs. So hopefully,
that for me is, Debbie, that is very important. I mean, it's no use you being a responsible supplier and you driving that. That ethos and principles need to be embarked with your strategic suppliers. In fact, with all your suppliers, understanding what their philosophies and principles are around sustainability, because this is a collaborative industry, but it's no use you're partnering with a supplier that doesn't care about, doesn't even have strategic sustainability programs in place. So at Distell, we take our principles and we almost marry it with our suppliers and see how they are progressing, and in turn also give them guidance as well. And then also a very important factor to consider is, when you look at your supplier long-term forecast, it's also about understanding that supplier sustainability in terms of growing with you from a volume perspective. So it's quite important that we share those long-term volume forecasts, and then also understand your risk mitigation with your sustainability programs with your suppliers.
Absolutely, and I think that's very good advice. I was about to say to you, what would your passing or last comment be to our procurement leaders and CPOs within South Africa and Africa? I feel like you've probably given a lot of that advice already, but maybe just one last thought, Lyndon, around sustainability. What would be your passing shot, as I would call it?
Maybe I think a critical one for me would be having a roadmap with proper measurable targets. Okay, if you don't have a roadmap, whether it's a short-term one or a long-term one, have measurable targets to work towards. And if you have those sustainability targets, you are chopping away and you're growing and you're moving in the right direction. But by not having a plan, not having a roadmap, not having a journey, you're kind of flying blind in that regard. You say, yeah, I need to do, we're doing sustainability, but when you have to really take it out and show tangible results, that's where the real benefit is going to be coming to you. And that's my only a parting note for all the CPOs, and having a clear plan with measurable targets in each of the various streams of sustainability.
I think very practical advice, and we look forward to hopefully giving some ideas about what those plans can be when we bring together leaders like yourself at the summit in May. And again, thank you for helping drive this, and we encourage others to please go take the Sustainable Procurement Pledge. I think it's .ie. It will be below in the description. And let's work together to make changes in our procurement practices. Thank you so much, Lyndon.
Thanks, Debbie, and thanks to everyone.